All right, so thank you for tuning into the Talking Like a Tiger podcast, hosted by myself, Cassie Miller. I'm currently a senior at Louisiana State University studying dietetics. For those of you wondering what dietetics is, it is a field of study focusing on diet and nutrition and its effect on health. I created this podcast to explore the deeper forms of communication needed to be a successful dietitian. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Today, I have Lindsay Kyle here to chat about what it means to be a mentor. Lindsay is also a dietetics student at LSU. She is currently a coach at KidStrong, a College of Ag mentor, and a mentor for the Tiger to Tiger peer mentoring program. Needless to say, Lindsay has a lot of experience being a mentor to not just her peers, but children as well. Lindsay, you can go ahead and introduce yourself and feel free to expand on what it is that you do.
Hey, so my name's Lindsay. I'm a senior at LSU in dietetics. Like she said, I work at KidStrong. So KidStrong is a child development center for ages walking through 11. We have 3 focuses every month. So we have a brain focus, a physical focus, and a character focus. Those focuses can interchange each month. So like one month, our brain focus was sign language, which was pretty cool. Like this month we're doing comparison. Our physical focus is grip strength, that kind of stuff. So it's super cool, really interactive with the kids. So really fun, 45-minute classes, very high energetic, super fun.
And what about the College of Ag mentor? What's that like?
Oh, so basically we mentor the incoming freshmen that are in the College of Ag. So I did it this past year. It was on Zoom due to COVID. So we just met for class time once a week. And then during class time, I worked under Brandon Guillory, and he would say, oh, do you guys have any advice to offer in the middle of class? And we would just unmute and talk about, like, for instance, we talked about scheduling for a few weeks because that stresses the freshmen out a lot. So I would unmute my mic and say, oh, I think you should make sure you have your schedule ahead of time, make sure you meet with your advisors, that kind of stuff. And I also was able to we did, I think, one meeting for every kid. Every incoming freshman had to have a meeting with either a mentor or with Brandon or with any of the other teachers that teach that class, because it's huge. And so I had to have personal meetings, like one-on-ones with the freshmen. So these were held over Zoom, and basically we would just talk about like how their semester's going so far, what are they worried about. I think it was in the middle of their first semesters when we had the meeting, so a lot of them were struggling with like math, and so I would give them advice on how to overcome math, or if they're having trouble finding time to do their homework, how to overcome that, creating a schedule, that kind of stuff. So it was pretty interesting. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Just meeting with them, being able to talk to them, give them any advice is awesome.
Awesome, yeah. And what about the Tiger to Tiger peer mentoring program?
So that one is probably one of my favorites. That one is more dietetic related, so it was super fun. I got to meet with, my mentee was a freshman, and we would just meet, I think, once a month for, oh my goodness, the first meeting was like 2 hours, 3 hours long. It was insane. And just talking about like what she needs to do to get her to excel at LSU as a dietetics major, because I mean, there's definitely stuff that like I didn't know going in that I wish people would have sat down and told me when I was a freshman. And it just kind of went over my head. So being able to do that for someone else was really cool. And just share any advice, telling her not to worry too much, because my mentee was like all worried about stuff that she didn't have to worry about for another couple of years.
Yeah.
So just telling her to relax, enjoy her time, and just do whatever she can along the way to help her out, like volunteering, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was definitely my approach for it because I was also in the Tiger to Tiger peer mentoring program. My mentee was a little older though. She was a sophomore and she had a lot of hours under her belt, so she may even be graduating a little earlier. So yeah, I was talking to her more about some of the advanced stuff, getting ready to pick where you want to go, all that, and bestowing some of the knowledge that I learned in some of my classes and from what I was hearing from Dr. McKinley. So I kind of helped her navigate the world of dietetics and be on the lookout for specific things.
Yeah, you definitely can't hear it enough. Like, I feel like every time I talk to someone, I'm like, oh my God, this is so interesting.
I was like, I wish I would have known that. That would have been so much easier if I would have went about it that way. So yeah, I love the Tiger Tiger peer mentoring program. All right, so let's see. So what qualities should a mentor have?
So I think that a good mentor should be welcoming, easy to talk to, super understanding, and just a great listener all around, because most of the time you're just going to be listening to them talk about how they feel and what they're up to. So definitely.
And then do you think these qualities are intrinsic or can they be developed over time?
So I think that some of them have to be a little bit intrinsic, but they definitely can be developed. So like, I would say if you're not really, I don't know, it's kind of weird because like I felt like before becoming a mentor that I was like pretty easy to talk to, pretty outgoing. But I definitely know that as through my work with KidStrong and through my work with the College of Ag and the Tiger to Tiger mentoring, like it's opened up so much more. Like all of those skills that I described definitely have become and like developed into so much more. So
awesome. Yeah, I've definitely seen a change, especially like working at KidStrong with you. Yes, like you're very outgoing now, and just like explaining things takes on a whole new meaning when you're a mentor. Sometimes you didn't realize like how difficult it was to express your feelings or explain like an experience you went through. So doing that while you're mentoring someone is a great skill to have.
Definitely.
So then how important is communication for fulfilling your role as a mentor at KidStrong and in the Tiger to Tiger peer mentoring program?
It's everything. It's such an important part. Being able to communicate with the kids at work and with the incoming freshmen or with any underclassmen has allowed me to understand so many different types of people and any situation that they might be going through right now, and just being able to understand more about them and their lives. I've just been able to be exposed to so many different people and situations, which is awesome because it's helped me to become a better communicator and a better mentor. And I know that all of that has definitely made my, like we said about those development skills, like that just made everything so much better, because you have to be pretty open-minded and pretty just able to take any situation and just be like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to sit down. We're going to figure this out. It's all going to be okay.
Yes. And then being able to realize that everybody's different and that you kind of have to feel someone out before, you can really give them solid advice in like a way that they can hear it and understand it and be able to implement it in their life.
Yeah. No situation's exactly the same, especially with, both of us, we work with so many different age groups, like we said, like between the kids and then between working with people that are more our age. There's definitely you have to
compare to a junior and where they are at in life and how far along they are in the curriculum and what they're looking for.
Yeah, definitely. You have to be super understanding and just understand that not everything can be treated the same at all.
You have to approach every situation with an open mind and fresh eyes. So
definitely.
So when you first filled these mentor roles, was there someone you looked forward to for advice, guidance, or inspiration?
So pretty much my entire life, I've looked at my mom for any type of advice, any type of guidance. If I was ever struggling with something, I was calling my mom all the time. But like now I'm getting older and it's going to be a little weird if I call my mom after every minor inconvenience. So now I just try to imagine like how she would treat people in the situation and how she would react in that moment, and making sure that like I'm still using her as like as a guidance, and like I don't know, it's just not always talking to her about everything. But yeah, just using her as like kind of a reference. Oh, how would my mom react to something like this? What would she say to make this person feel better? What if this was me going through this situation? How would she act and make me feel better about it? Here, this is what I'm going to say. She's definitely my biggest role model, and I'm hoping that I give as good advice as she does.
I'm sure. And mothers, that's where we can look to for our empathy, and that's super important when being a mentor. What about like some of the instructors at LSU? A lot of them were dietitians previously before coming to LSU to be an instructor. Do you find that's really helpful?
Oh, 100%. Yes. I have talked to, on multiple occasions, Dr. McKinley about anything. If I'm struggling or if I don't know where I'm going dietetics wise, like that's someone that I know I can go to and just say, hey, what should I be doing right now? And she'll say, hey, this is what you should be doing. And I'll be like, okay. And then even
through it, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. Even Miss Myhan, I know she's not like dietetics, but she definitely has some good advice, a lot of experience under her belt,
Yes.
dealing with so many people. Yeah, she has so much experience. I've interviewed her for some like English class one time because we had to interview someone, and I learned so much about her that I just like was not expecting to learn.
Yeah, so I guess you could also say like having lots of wisdom would be a really good quality to being a mentor. You know, having a lot of experiences under your belt and be able to share what you've learned from it. Yeah,
definitely.
Right. So then, have you identified or used any techniques to develop the mentor/mentee relationship? And if so, what are they?
So mostly I just ask my mentee about themselves, how they're doing, how their semester, their week's going. And this usually allows them to open up about any questions they might have or anything they might be struggling with. Then after that, I usually try to relate to them as much as possible, especially if it's like an incoming freshman or an underclassman at school. Freshman year is hard, like transitioning. That's a huge transition from high school to college. And I know my first semester freshman year was super rough. Like it was not easy at all, but I feel like it's always very reassuring for them, especially like if I share some of my experiences that I had freshman year. Oh, well, she had a little bit more of a rough time than I did. Like that's okay. Or if they're having a rough time, hey, it's okay. Things get better, you know? And like we said before, like I definitely talk to the freshmen about getting on a schedule and making sure that they're like my most used technique for school is write everything that I have to do down and then mark it off. It's a checklist. And it's like the best thing that you can possibly do. And so I try to explain to them like, hey, start this type of routine early where you are writing everything down or you're making a schedule for yourself. Even scheduling time for yourself, like that's such a big deal too, because I mean school's hard, but making sure that you have a balance between your school life and your life for yourself too is super important. Making sure that you're taking care of your mental health and not just your school. Yeah, definitely. It's a hard separation. I struggled with that for a long time.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, freshman year was definitely a learning experience. Yes. And during COVID, that was also a major learning experience. So
yes, huge. Yeah, and especially since especially this past semester, things were online. So it was even more important, it seemed like, to express like, okay, hey, everything's online. It might be super easy for you to not do what you're supposed to do, but look what's going to happen if you don't do what you're supposed to do. Let's look at the chain reaction. Let's make sure, look, this is why you just got to get up for your 8:30 class and go on Zoom, even if it's on Zoom. Like, I know it's terrible, but like, just do it, get it over with. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, like kind of like laying out what would the consequences be if you don't, do a certain thing, or if you do a certain thing. That's a really good. Yeah, that's awesome. All right. And so then, are there any differences in mentoring, let's say 3 to 4-year-olds? Because I know we have a 3 to 4-year-old class at KidStrong, and then compared to the 7 and 8-year-olds.
Yeah, there's definitely a huge difference. most of what I see is that the 3 and 4-year-olds are very, very, very literal. So if you tell them to do something, like they either won't follow it at all, or they're going to follow it to like a T. So you have to be super careful about the way you're wording things, making sure that they understand it, because you definitely don't want to make anyone feel like they're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want to make anyone feel bad because they didn't understand.
You don't want to lead them astray and then feel embarrassed. You're like, oh my gosh, am I doing wrong? Can I not do this? Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you don't want to kill, especially like a 3 and 4-year-olds, you don't want to kill their self-esteem. Like we're trying to boost that up. Like we don't want to, definitely. So just making sure that you're super careful when you're explaining things. And then the 7 and 8-year-olds are very mature, and they focus a little bit more. So you can be a little more lenient with your instructions and like more, I guess, demonstrate, and they'll understand it and be like, okay, this is good. So it's definitely a challenge, but both age groups are super, super fun to coach, and they offer different challenges.
Yeah, the 7 and 8-year-olds, you kind of can like let them it's more of developing their personal responsibility. So you kind of tell them what they need to do, but it's up to them. You don't have to hold their hand. So
yes, exactly. Yes.
All right. So then how has being a mentor impacted your life?
So being a mentor has definitely added so much to my life. I have better communication skills because of it. Before I became a mentor, I thought I was pretty outgoing, but now I definitely think I can talk to anyone that's any age. It doesn't matter who they are, and about pretty much any topic. Like, I feel like just being exposed to all these different situations, I've been able to expose myself into things that I didn't think I was going to be talking to someone random about. Like, it's crazy. But I definitely feel more like inclined to start conversations with people, even if it's like not always a fun conversation. Like, I've definitely had to talk to some parents at work, like at KidStrong, and that's not always a fun time because, I mean, not all kids are like, it's not always fun, but, having those difficult conversations, having that experience to know how to deal with parents and deal with kids and deal with people our age, like our fellow peers, our fellow students, like it's something that I really couldn't ask for anywhere else. Like, I don't think doing any other jobs, I don't think I would find the same place. But I've also realized that just being a mentor has made me a better listener. Like, because like we said before, the biggest part, just let your mentee talk, or let whoever you're talking to talk about whatever, and they're gonna be like, oh my goodness, that was such good advice. But really, sometimes they kind of lead themselves into their own answer to their problem, like just by letting people talk it out, letting them be able to express their emotions, and
and then you're just there to kind of guide them in the right direction.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. And just letting them express themselves, it's huge. Being open-minded, great listener, like, just, I don't know, I've definitely just seen myself grow. It's crazy.
And so then how do you think it has impacted your mentees' lives?
I'm hoping all of my mentees, whether at KidStrong or at LSU, that they've had positive experiences with me, and that they feel like they can come and talk to me about anything, and they'll have someone to confide in. So I'm hoping that's the way they feel. We'll see.
I'm sure it is. All right. And then in your opinion, how will being a mentor enhance your success as a pediatric dietitian? And I know we didn't kind of say this, but I know that you're hoping that when you want to be a pediatric dietitian,
right,
to become a dietitian. So how do you think your being a mentor will enhance your success as being a pediatric dietitian?
So hopefully I'll be able to become a pediatric dietitian, but I think just being exposed to all different types of people and different situations, and being able to guide them through each unique situation will definitely help me as a pediatric dietitian. So just like my role as a mentor, each person, each patient, they may have a different situation, different background, different everything, and they'll definitely need different and unique counseling strategies. So I think that just being able to have all this experience talking with parents, talking with kids, talking with any age group, is always just good to have. I mean, it's just awesome. And then, although it just might not always be easy, because it's not always fun. I think it's fun for the most part, but it's not always fun. There are some tough days. It's important that I just be understanding, open-minded, and willing to help anyone with anything.
Yeah, because as being a pediatric dietitian, you would be seeing a majority of people who are in a situation and need a lot of help and guidance, and we know for
Right.
food and people's food habits, those are touchy subjects. So
Yes.
especially, being able to talk to the parents, getting that experience and practice at KidStrong, because a lot of times the only time you're really talking to the parents is a lot of times when the child has been bad or they're not cooperating during class and they're, kind of making it bad for the rest of the kids. So you have to address the situation, talk to the parents. So getting that practice will definitely, I'm sure, help in the future when you sit a parent down and say, like, this could be the consequences, so.
Yeah. And even like yesterday we had a trial at KidStrong come in, and one of the parents was like, oh, I don't know if this is for us. Like, are they always like this? It was like 4-year-olds. And I was like, he actually did pretty well. Like, just being able to reassure her that, hey, you're in the right place. It's going to get better every week. It's going to get better, believe it or not, as they get into a routine, as they get into everything that we do here, because it's a lot all in your face at once, especially if you come in for the first time. Like, it's a lot. But being able to get in the routine, okay, we're coming every week at this time on this day, the kid will get excited. They'll understand like a role as a coach, and be like, okay, everyone else in the class is listening to coach. I have to listen to coach too. And that's something super, just being able to reassure people too. It's not always like having the hard conversations, but just being, okay, like, it's going to be okay. It's going to get better. Like, things, having that positive attitude is definitely something to look into too, as being, like, will help me for the rest of my life, honestly.
So it's hard to show up sometimes, have a positive attitude, have a smile on your face, especially after a really long day at school and you're tired and you have to go to classes in the evening. You have to be pumped up for it. So being able to get yourself in the headspace will definitely help in the future. If you're a pediatric dietitian in the hospital and you
Long
already work
hours.
like a 9 to 10 hour shift and you still have to keep going, being able to walk into the room, have a smile on your face, because it's really going to change your perception, the relationship with not just the child that you could be counseling, but also their parents, because in pediatrics, you have to develop both your relationship with the parent as well as with the child. Both are equally as important.
Definitely. 100%. Yeah.
All right. So do you have any last words to say about being a mentor?
It's pretty awesome. I mean, I like it a lot. I've enjoyed my time. I'm still working at KidStrong. I'm going to go back for another semester being a peer mentor for the College of Agriculture, hopefully for the Tiger to Tiger mentoring as well. So I'm super excited to get started with the school year and meet all the new people and be able to offer any advice that I can give.
Yeah, I don't know if I had mentioned this, but to all the listeners, I am also a coach at KidStrong. Lindsay is a little bit more of a veteran than I am. I started later than Lindsay. So Lindsay actually kind of helped mentor me through the process and through my training. She was like, you got it, like, you're going to get better. It's going to be better. And so that really helped me. So I definitely know, as one of your mentees, you definitely helped me through and kind of pushed me over the edge to continue at KidStrong, because it's kind of rigorous.
It is
daunting. So you definitely helped me through the process. And so I'm excited to do it during the school year and to continue on with the Tiger mentoring program, get my new mentee, and learn more about them. The mentoring experience is awesome. It's definitely helped me, just like you said, it's helped me so much to be a better communicator, and being in my little bubble. I've lived in Baton Rouge my whole life. I've gone to the same schools my whole life. Going to LSU, I went with the majority of my class. So just being able to broaden my horizons and experience different things, being a mentor definitely did that for me, and I'm very thankful for that.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being my first guest.
Thank you for having me.
And yes, so I guess we'll just log on off. Thank you all for listening, and we have a few more podcasts to come, so stay tuned.